Welcome to Film Study, an All-American Universe podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, rate the podcast 5 stars, all that good stuff. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Today I have Kyla Sylvers on. She is the host of You, Me, and the Multiverse Podcast. We had a blast, so I hope that you enjoy what we have to say about 212 Behind the Mask. Had some audio difficulties on my end. It's very echoey. Here it is. This has been a long time coming. I was on her podcast. Now she's on my podcast. So we're going to have some fun with it. We're talking about 212 Behind the Mask of All-American Homecoming. And yeah, we're excited. You ready to get into it?
I am.
Okay. I know both of us already have so many thoughts. So with that being said, though, what were your overall thoughts on the episode?
I actually really liked the episode. So I haven't been the biggest fan of this season, which we can get to later. But I really liked this episode. It felt fun. It took them out of their kind of normal setting. Yes. And it felt dynamic. I felt like a lot of the characters actually went somewhere. Some chapters closed, some chapters opened. Yes. We got to learn some stuff about some characters. My boo Lando. But it was nice to kind of, it felt like a dynamic episode to me. So I really like, maybe even my favorite of the season. Like I
really. So out of 10, is it a 10? Is it a 10?
It's so hard for me to give stuff a 10. That's
I know. I don't think I've ever rated. I don't know. Check the tape on that. Show me some receipts. I don't know. But I don't know if I've ever rated anything a 10 as long as I've been doing this.
Yeah, I'm like, a 10? That's like, we're talking about like one of my favorite shows and we're giving a 10. No, but I do love All American Homecoming actually. But if I'm going to give it an 8.5.
8.5. That's solid. That's solid.
I think that's yeah. Okay, what about you?
I think 8.5 story, like you said, like I had the same. I feel like I didn't even know it right, but we had similar thoughts about just clarifying some stuff for some of the characters, and I feel like that this episode went a long way to doing that. But the reason I'll give it a 9.5, and this is like. I used to always be rated higher than my guests, and that has not happened basically at all this season, which I've been surprised about. But yeah, I think I give it a 9.5 specifically because I feel like the director, so Von White, the angles, the close-ups, the type of close-ups that he was doing, I feel like it brought a whole new fresh vibe. I thought he got really great performances out of the actors. It felt, I have this in my notes somewhere, but I was just like, it felt like Issa Rae, like when Kerry Washington came and directed or whatever, and she was just like, let's try this. I feel like he went in with that sort of like, let's try this and let's try something a little different. And I think it really worked. So 9.5, close to a 10 for me.
I'm trying to find my notes. I can't find them. But yeah, I was tempted to give it a 9, but I'm just like, I'm so like picky.
No, listen, me too.
But I agree with you with everything you said. Like I thought the directing was it's really, I think, my favorite episode of the season. Like legit.
Yeah. So. No, same here probably. Let's get into the intro a little bit before we get into the storylines. Wanted to say this. KEK was delivering some invitations. I feel like this is the first time Thea and Cam have ever interacted at all.
That's a fact. Because you know what? It's so funny you say that and we'll get to it later, but Simone and Cam dancing, I'm like, the last thing they had together, they were together 2 seconds and they were like, yeah, no. And walked away. Like, Cam is interacting with people.
Finally. So yeah. No, I agree. Super quickly on the crossover, the keeping the universes together. Simone had a voicemail at the top for for Jordan. And okay, I'm gonna say this because I was like struggling on whether or not to address it, but it's just so interesting to me.
And I know you are Jordan that like that.
This voicemail was so interesting to me because first of all, I knew that they were gonna have her do a voicemail. I felt like that was super appropriate.
I was confused because she takes a pause and then she says, "Okay, bye," which made me think she was talking to him and then he had to get off. And then that's why he sent her that text later, like, "I appreciate you reaching
Oh,
out."
see, I think that was just Jeffrey like sitting in the moment. And I love that she made that choice to sit in the moment. Like me watching that, I was just like, I didn't know Simone was going to be that effect. Like I knew that they had to address it on Homecoming because Billy Baker is a huge character. And so I always anticipated this happening, but I didn't know that they were gonna like let Simone like sit in that moment, like even after Nate was just like, "Are you okay?" So I really loved that, and thought it was like appropriate. And I think Jeffrey like killed that moment to keep the universes connected and to actually show that like Simone like this affected Simone too, and I think that was really powerful.
Yeah, and I think too to show like she still cares and she's like still connected. To be honest, again, girl, I listen to the pod. And what I'm saying about Layla and Simone and their friendship, this is something I always wanted to say, and I finally got an opportunity.
Do it, say it.
Liv and Simone always had more of a relationship. Like I specifically remember scenes from all where they used to talk. And so part of me was like, damn, I want her to hit up Liv too when he said, oh, he's worried about Liv. I wanted her to
and
like
I'm glad she mentioned Liv. I'm glad she mentioned Liv, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, I want something like for me, I can't like I'm not gonna lie. I don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't think Layla and Simone had some kind of friendship, but I'd be really jumping through hoops trying to remember scenes they had together and why we should care so much about that.
Listen, the connections were not connecting. I have a lot of thoughts on the connect, which is why I was like, am I going to address this or not? Because I feel like the episode was great and it was just like this moment of crossover was great. And then there was a part where I was just like, I just tweaked that a little bit because what did she say to Jordan? She was just like, me and your Bringston fam are going to be here for you. And I'm like, your Bringston fam?
Everybody in your family know you're gonna be with Damon. What you talking about?
Exactly. Like, what you talking about? I'm like, the Bringston fam hates Jordan right now because he's with Layla. What are we doing?
Make it make sense.
They're not his fam. I'm like, did Damon and Jordan just fight? Like, what are we doing?
When she said that line, I was like, we could have kept that part out. Just like
that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they should have just left it to thinking of you, like you and Liv are in my thoughts. I'm so sorry. Like basically what she said up front. And then this piece about the Bringston fan just could have cut that out.
Cutting room floor, baby. Cutting room floor.
So I'm glad that we're on it with that because I was just like, it's just some again. We're both writers, so that is just like things like that when they add it in, you're just like,
when you brought that up, because I literally thought it when she said it. I was like,
thank you.
Go on. What? I was confused, but I love that she reached out to him because I think people forget too. Like they weren't just boyfriend and girlfriend; like they were married. So if like she knew his family and like had scenes with them, like it
and stayed with his family, right?
And, right, and stayed with
for
his
a while,
family. Right. So I'm like, this like makes sense, you know, because sometimes I think I was like reading somewhere too. Oh, Jordan's what she have to call him whatever the people be saying. I don't know if I can curse on here.
I'll bleep it out.
I'm just like, I just feel like that completely and utterly makes sense to me that she would still, regardless of like the status of their relationship, that she would
absolutely.
Still call. And I do love that she did that, but I also do agree with you that one little line could have been on the cutting room floor because they don't care.
Yeah,
but
yeah, they don't care, and And also, I love the button at the end where Jordan texts back and it's just like, I really appreciate you, and I'm worried about Liv, because then that's going to go into Liv's episode, the show that it's just like she's really about to have this struggle that we're about to see in All American. But yeah, I just thought that was a nice little touch. Cutting
Yeah.
room floor, that one little part, and everything else loved.
Right. And like, I think if I'm being real petty, I know they be pressed for time, but if I was being real petty, like I said, she did have a personal relationship with Liv. Even if she would have sent Liv a thinking of you, I would have.
I'm honestly surprised that I mean, I'm not surprised, but I feel like it also would have made sense if she had sent that voicemail to Liv and not to Jordan. I think that would have been interesting. I know that they're not going to do it, but I'm like, I feel like it would have made sense in this instance. I feel like it would have made sense. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's that on that. That's that on that. Nate asks Simone, speaking of being there for Simone after finding out that Billy passed away, asks Simone about best friends gate with Damon. Which is interesting because ma'am, you was the what?
Look,
you was the what to do this little conspiracy thing, honey.
I felt like Nate and JR had like minor points last week. I wouldn't even say they were minor. I felt like they had points, but I was also like, y'all have known that these two people have been in love since day one. Like, even if your point stands, especially the whole thing with the grief, because I'm like, I get what you're saying, but
yeah, they definitely had it. Definitely, there was like there was an argument to be made in the basis of like what they were saying. It's just like at this point,
right? And it's like, you also know them and you've seen them and you know that their love is not just because of this grief. They've been doing this forever. Like, what are you talking about? So it's like, yeah, there are points to be made. So I was like, oh, they are giving point, but I'm also like, girl, Nate.
exactly. Yeah. Please. And I was so happy when they when it quickly moved on from that, and it actually went into her having a secret admirer and like, you know, being invited to this black and red masquerade ball, and like gets clues the whole day, and then dances with this mysterious person. Who do we think this mysterious person is?
Looking flawless. Oh my god.
Period.
Like fucking gorgeous. I was like, yes, girl, yes. Oh, mysterious. I feel like it's a new character. I hope it's a new character. I would love a shake up. I just don't want it to be that typical kind of storyline where, you know, they gotta move in the dark or some shit. That will annoy me. But because it's already like, oh, I'm a secret admirer, I'm gonna come out in my mask and then I'm gonna disappear into the night, and I'm just like, this is reading cute, but it's also reading like, we gotta stay kind of stuff. So
when homeboy dipped from the dance, I was just like, I feel like we could have revealed. Revealed.
Unless this is an indication of a larger problem, which I could see it being. And that would be interesting too, right? Because you had Nico, right? That was old dude's name, who was a terrible boyfriend, but was, you know, dating, you know, out in public proud. And now we're gonna have another situation where this person may be a great partner, but want to be secretive, and that's gonna piss me off.
Exactly. Yeah. So it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see where it goes. And it's like there's a part of me that's just like, this is a really interesting story to tell, but there's also a part of me that's just like, can we let Nate be happy and not like, you know, just not drama in this way. But I'm also just like, oh, I would love to see how Nate handles having an amazing partner who might be closeted, ? I don't know. So
yeah,
I don't know. Wherever they go with this story, it's going to be interesting.
Because I want great things. I want great things for Nate, but we also have to have
Me too.
drama. So I'm like, but that dance was
Me too.
sexy, and when she was like,
The dance was good.
dance, damn, I was feeling her when she said that.
I'm glad. Can I say this? I'm glad that we got. I'm glad that we got Nate dancing and not Amara and Marcus.
That was a great transition because let me tell you, the way I be listening to your podcast and every time you pick up Amara and Marcus and how you can't stand them, I'm like, yes, girl, me too. I be in the kitchen cooking like, oh my God, Lexi is like speaking my language right now. Yes, oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired. What was Marcus saying? It's like they haven't dated in 17 years. I'm like, why start now?
Kill me now. The thing is, for me, they are so boring. Like, I could not
So boring.
think of a more boring couple. Even the way they talk to each other. So slow.
HR signed off on the relationship. Like, okay.
Because it was before we worked together like that. Why are we talking so slow? What is happening? I hate it so much. I hate it so much. I think he is much more interesting with Keena, and I think she is much more interesting with Zeke, right? Is that the same Zeke?
Yes. Well, and the other thing is just like it. For me, it's like we've gotten so much of their story over the past 2 seasons. I feel like we've gotten more of their story than any other couples on this particular show. Because we've gotten a lot of backstory about Amara and Marcus, and I feel like we understand where they are as a couple, understand who they are as people. But the thing is, it's just like, why are they trying to present this season within these past 2-3 episodes that Marcus is somehow like the one that got away or the bad boy or like not a safe choice? And it's like, what?
Questions that need answers. I'm like, he's an inspiration to every teen on this show and is like great and went into recovery.
Is literally always there for Amara. They've literally never had any significant problems. Their major problems is that he went to the minor leagues and then left her because her sister said that he wasn't good enough. We get it.
I'm just like, what is this? I'm wondering too, my brain, because, I work in production, my brain starts going, did the actress who played Keena, because she not come back? Because Zeke not come back? Like, somebody not come back? Like, is this why we're doing this? Because why are we doing this?
And it's just, this story in particular, and it's like, if we're going to get Amara and Marcus, like, at least give us something, like, right? There was no issue with HR, so why did we bring it? Was just something that's passed over. So where is their tension in this relationship gonna be?
And I'm wondering, like, is that gonna happen? I wouldn't be surprised if that tension happens with Keisha, or if she's doing this thing where, because it kind of sounds like she's doing, well, not anymore, because I was going to say, if she's doing that thing where she's juggling Zeke and Marcus, then maybe we'll have that come up where one of them like shows up at one time. I really thought
Zeke was going to be in that apartment.
Right. I thought when Keisha showed up a couple episodes ago that when she had kissed Marcus, that Marcus was
was still going to be there. And it's like, why are they dangling these things in our face and then just dropping the drama? Like, this is a drama show. So where is the drama with this story?
Right. So I just be like, every single time, just like so bored. Oh my God. So I didn't like the dress he bought her. I just like, I'm just like, so.
Oh, see, and for me, I was just like, the setting was beautiful. In that first scene, her hair was wonderful. I literally, I was just like, great gowns, beautiful gowns, nice little Drew Hill ambiance.
Not in this setting. It wasn't a beautiful gown, but beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns.
Oh my gosh. Look, at least the setting was a beautiful gown. The setting. Shout out to you, set designers.
look good though. Merchants always look good, so it's kind of just like, you know, it's giving.
Yeah.
But
you know, shout out to the Marcus and Amara shippers. You're getting what you want. I'm very happy for you.
Yes, happy for you.
Thumbs up.
Okay, right.
Thumbs up. A couple that unfortunately is giving more than Marcus and Amara to be, but I want to break up.
Come on, bring it on. I know who you're about
to say. Cam and Keisha.
Oh my God. An amazing podcast called Gary. Go listen to it. It's so funny. And they are always encouraging people who write into them to break up with their partners. Because, I mean, they're people be with trash people. And they have
this sounded like just tea like the whole time. Go check out this podcast.
Yo, they're so funny. They're so funny. I put my mom onto them too. My mom be calling me like, oh my God, Kayla, this.
That's about to be me to you.
My mom had never listened to a podcast in her life. No, she's always
like, this is the one.
This is the one. But they used to have, I don't know if they still do, but they used to have these t-shirts like break up with him. And I just want to get Cam one that says break up with her. Like that's just like, he just badly needs a shirt that says break up with her. Because Keisha, my God, and I feel like it's coming to a head too. I do feel like that's a thread that they're making very clear, because this is the second time now that she's gone off on him, and she's had to apologize. At that little dinner last season, she didn't apologize, by the way. But this is the second time when she has apologized. And so, you know, the third time's a charm. So I think what's going to happen is she's going to do this a third time, and that may be the final strike for him.
I hope. Maybe they'll bring it back up at the finale, because we only got 3 more episodes. So I'm like, please.
I mean, the way she doing it'd be back to back. Wasn't it just like an episode of I mean, at this rate.
And the funny thing is, I forgot to mention this. This is the first time we've gotten Keisha and Nate in an episode together. So it's like every time Keisha is in an episode.
I noticed. I think that was one of the things in my notes too. One of the first things I noticed was Keisha and Nate together.
I was like, hey, come through the both of y'all, through this masquerade ball.
That's what we get before a break. Oh, we just want to break episode together.
Later. The other thing about this is that even from the jump, like before, because obviously later when she was with everybody, she like was like just harping on him when everybody was practicing the dance. But he was helping her practice earlier, just the two of them, and she was just like, "Oh, I thought you were done handing out invitations." Like, what? What are you doing?
And he made it very clear that they have been practicing nonstop. So he has to stop to go do a different obligation, and you're being OD like this. And it's like, girl.
Completely.
Like, get a hold of yourself.
You know what the thread is? Because I missed it when I live watched. But the thread was that he missed a singular call. And so when I watched this back again, I was just like, tell me. Tell me that she did not go off on this man because he missed one call from her after Dr. Pace for the 20th, 50th, 100th time was getting on her nerves.
I feel like if Cam went up to Keisha and like forgot to get her a hug or something, she'd be like, why you hug me? Like,
literally.
Like, oh my God, I just walked up here. Like, dang, maybe I'm sweating. She's so... And
she's barking, bro.
Like,
just barking at this man.
Simone had to tell her, like, girl, it was me. It was I. Simone don't even
That's what was like, so weird about it. The fact that she was just like, you're on the wrong side. And it was like, the things that she was saying didn't even like match up. Like, she wasn't even getting upset for legitimate reasons. Mm-hmm. Every guy is on the same side. And you're saying, Cam, you're on the wrong side. Like, what are you doing at this point?
Right. It's obvious you're mad about something else. You're not actually mad about the dance. You're embarrassing yourself at your first choreography job. Now everybody's looking at you like, this bitch is moody. Should we hire her again? You know, so I'm...
Dr. Pace done already like preeminently failed you. So you don't want to lose this job anyway.
Exactly. And at this rate, you're gonna be Dr. Pace, the way you acting. Like,
Facts.
that's what I
Facts.
fear. I feel, right? Like, sometimes people work so hard not to become the person that they hate, that they end up becoming that person anyway. And like the way that Keisha is working herself and the way she's treating everybody around her while she works herself this way is giving baby Dr. Pace.
It honestly, you're correct. I hadn't even thought about that because, to be honest, this Dr. Pace storyline is like.
Did you see my? I'm tired of these terrible professors.
I'll just leave it as ... This Dr. Pace storyline is ... But
these horrible professors,
yeah,
these horrible coaches. Coach Marcus is the only decent person at the school. What is this staff?
Literally, Marcus and Amara, the two saints of All-American Homecoming.
Because I mean, like, this staff talks to these kids like they're crazy. Like, I've never had a professor go at me like that, because your professors, if they're good, want you to win. Like, yeah, there are some who can be harder on you, but not in a way, because I feel like Dr. Pace, I know we're about to, get to this crazy lady, but I feel like she is almost like resentful. I don't know if she's resentful of Keisha because she learned on her own, or
I think that's what it is. There is like one small note that Keisha, she was really shocked because she was just like, you don't have any formal training. And so I think that makes sense, because I feel like there might be folks, I'm not super familiar with the dance world, but there might be folks that are just like, hey, there's girls that have put, or there's people that have put blood, sweat, and tears into dancing since they were toddlers. And the fact that Keisha is just coming up, like she just changed from a medical degree, like, oh, you're trying to be a dancer now. Like, I feel like that's how she's treating Keisha. But at the same time, it's just like, you're a grown adult. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
I need answers, questions.
And then she was just mad. She was mad because Amara told her to chill, and so now she just has a vendetta.
Right. And so that too, like, how petty are you? Like, you take away everything because the president has to tell you to chill. You're driving kids literally insane. Like, first of all, he shouldn't even have to tell you that. Oh, this is how sure, the dance world may be intense, but we need to, one of the things that I love that All-American Homecoming is addressing, despite like some mixed feelings I have about the season, is like they're really doubling down on this, especially particularly in Black culture, how we pass stuff down, right? Like, and also too in American culture too, but like in Black culture in particular, the stuff with the elders, right? Like the grandfather and the father, how they treat each other. And then, in American culture in general, you have the KEK stuff, you have the dance stuff, where it's like, well, I went through this hell, so you have to go through this hell too in order to survive. When the real thing is like, we shouldn't be putting people through hell at all, and we should work to create a new cycle. But people feel like, oh, I suffer, you have to suffer too, and that is not the way. That's why
I walk to school barefoot in the snow, in the sleet. Yeah.
Right, and you want me to do that too? I don't think that was joyful for you. Why do you think it's gonna be joyful for me? Like, what? So that's one of the things I've been loving about this season. Is like how they're really kind of tackling those things, right? Of like, just because somebody else slaved does not mean that the other person is a slave. If I went through a personal hell to get somewhere, I'm gonna try it, which in many cases in my life I have, and so have you, I'm sure. Right. So it's just like, I don't want the person after me to have to go through that, and I'm not gonna hate if they don't. Exactly. So I didn't mean to like go in.
No, I mean, you're speaking facts. You're speaking facts, and like, yeah, Dr. Pace is the definition of a hater, and she's I don't know. It's just like, how can you be that bitter? Like, and the thing is like, we've been doing this same song and dance, so she's specifically targeting Keisha about the, like, we don't see any other. I mean, we had, the girl who was the alum say like, oh, I failed the class or something like that, but we don't see any of Keisha's other like dancer friends be like, oh yeah, no, Dr. Pace is tripping. We just, they actually defended her, which was kind of weird.
That for her, but I think Two? Well, I'm sure she's particularly picking on Keisha. We already know that's a fact because we've seen them in so many one-on-one settings. But I think too, there are a lot of kids who internalize, well, this is what you have to go through to be great. And I just feel like that. I'm so sorry, you're gonna have to cut all this out. I just feel like that's bullshit.
No, you're right. These are facts. You should
definitely just put it like.
I will say this. On Keisha, back on Keisha and Keisha blowing up. I can't believe this girl said playing around with your little friends. Keisha, are you his mother? Are you Cam's mother?
Girl. I'd be like,
it was very strange.
What are you on? Like, girl, why are you wowsing like that? He can't have friends? Like, what? That's why we don't ever see Cam with nobody else. The writers were trying to tell us something.
Not emotionally abused. Okay, sorry. No, only because you just made me think of this. I don't know if they're. This is a very deep story to tell, but I do think it would be an interesting one if they actually did go into Keisha's sort of like verbally, emotionally abusive nature with Cam versus her other friends. And like having to deal with that, like having to deal with the fact that you love your friend and she's there for you, but you also notice your friend is like abusive to the person that she's with, and how do you deal with that? And I feel like that if they actually do go into that story, I hope they do, that would be interesting to explore.
I think that would be great to explore too, because it also circles back to Keisha's overall arc, right? Like when we met her, one of the biggest things was she was never really a great partner to people. Like we met her partner beforehand and it was a similar thing. So seeing her try to be a partner to somebody who she really wants to be with and seeing that she's getting it wrong and that's translating into emotional abuse, and seeing her have to reconcile that with all the other stressors she has going on, I think something like that would elevate the show to new heights, really. And I already really like the show, but that would be really interesting if they did that. Because it's really easy to break them up, and I do think they should break up. But I think in that she's gonna have to really kind of.
And I want her to struggle, and I want Simone and Nate to struggle with how to talk to her about this.
How to be a friend and how to deal with that. Yeah. And I think, because it's funny, because Keisha has never been somebody who talks to people wonderfully, because she doesn't always talk to Simone wonderfully either. But I think the reason why we didn't mind it with Simone was because she was speaking facts that Simone kind of needed to hear in that specific tone at that specific time. So it always felt like, well, when she was just like, you're doing this, you're making this mess. When she was with Jordan and she was really kind of telling Simone what it was. And even when she was telling her, why are you doing all that with Layla and stuff, I think those were valid times when she was kind of being really assertive. And I don't mind that part of Keisha's personality, but it's like, where is that line? And I
where
think
is the line?
Crossing it,
Yes, and it's so funny because talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember what Gabby said, and we'll get into Gabby sort of later on. But Gabby, I feel like is tough love in a very still empathetic way. And again, I hate to use that word, but to your point, where is the line? Where is the empathy? Most times, especially with Cam, Keisha does not come at it with empathy. She does not have that. But and sometimes she does, but not all the time and not most times. So it's going to be interesting to see her now. It just makes me laugh because I'm just like, Simone was really at that dance, at that rehearsal, being like, Kanye, calm down.
Not Kanye. Did you say Kanye? That's right. She was like, girl, this is not him.
It just really reminded me of that.
Another thing, and this is so interesting because you see it with men so much, and like, I'm not a woman who dates women, so I've heard from men that this could happen too, right? But because I don't really know, but I've seen this with men too, where they're really good at apologizing. And Keisha in that scene was like, I'm so sorry, you all can go home. She's really good at apologizing and recognizing she's wrong, but she's not good at handling it in the moment.
not handling it in the moment and not growing from that experience. Because to your point, what was this? The last episode? She wasn't in the last. I don't think she was in the last episode. Whatever episode she's not in a ton of episodes because they alternate. So very recently, when she was last on our screen, she did this exact same thing, and it's just like, are you not sensing a pattern with yourself?
Exactly. Yeah. And you had to come and you had to apologize, and you're always apologizing to him, and he's been so quick, to take it. And I think that's going to come to a head very soon, especially if, because he's dealing with a lot of other stuff too, with KEK and with his aneurysm. Yeah. Lord God, Jesus, if they don't bring that up in a serious way,
I need them to address the aneurysm, because we haven't talked about that in a while, and I feel like that's really big.
It can burst at any time, and then boom, he's gone.
Did he get the surgery? And that's the thing is,
surgery. I don't think, did he? I don't remember.
I think he did. Eventually, he did get the surgery. I want to say. I think he did.
I don't even remember.
But that's what I'm saying. I just feel like, and this has been an overall, to your point about, I've enjoyed the season, but there has been like some things that I would just adjust about this season. And it's just like the things that they choose to focus on versus not with some of these stories. I'm just like, can we just get a little bit more information, a little bit more clarity on where these characters are at? Super quickly, they ate up the dance. The dance was amazing. It was giving.
Baby girl Simone can dance. She should have been a dance.
Yes. And Mitchell and Cam.
Yes, Cam can dance too. And it reminded me so much of the Backdoor Pilot, because I loved Liv and Simone dance there too.
Yes, the partition dance. Yeah,
a lot of that. And because that's where Damon first saw her and fell in love, and then we got at the end of this episode.
Yes, I love it. And then last thing on this is that she didn't actually technically fail, because she one-upped Dr. Pace and said, you know what, the money never touched my hands, and it was donated to charity, so I'm not a professional, so I get to stay in class unless you have something else to fail me for. So I'm sure we'll continue to see this story and continue to see how that,
him coming through with the win again, because he helped with that too.
Yes. Jumping to Thea real quick. She had a picture with Ira. It felt like Thea was doing a lot in this episode, a lot for a secondary, what is this, almost like a C or D story. It felt like she had a lot of scenes and a lot of, because she was in Nate's story. Suddenly we get Rome back. I was like, why are we seeing Rome so much?
Who would have thought it would have started with a dance with Simone and ended with a dance with them?
That part. I was just like, is he still a hotep, or what are we doing here? Did he grow? Did he evolve?
I was thinking the same thing, because with that story, I was thinking first Thea was with her savior, now she's about to be with how can I put it? Because he's like her savior in a way too, right? Because he gave her the drugs and he helps her through these things. But he's like a bad influence, right? Especially if he's still a hotep, right? Yeah. So I'm like,
it's very interesting, because I was just like, did they purposefully not give us information on where Rome is at? And why does Thea feel a connection to Rome? I don't know. I feel like that's something within the past couple of the last 2 episodes that he's been in, including this past one, where I was just like, I didn't know that Thea was that close to Rome, where she's just talking, because she doesn't talk to Thea does not just talk to anybody. So I don't know. I was a little shocked that she was being so open with him, but I understand she was in a vulnerable place. All that being said, she's thinking about going pro.
Right. He's graduating from drug dealer to everything else.
Confidant.
Right. But if you pay attention, he's been slowly graduated all season, because I feel like he gave her advice about something else, which I felt like was kind of bad advice. He was like, he's very competitive, right? He's always telling her.
Yes, exactly.
That. And if you don't want to be here, then you should go pro. Although I didn't think that, I don't always think he's giving necessarily bad advice, but I think he does give advice that purposefully puts her against whoever else she's talking about.
I agree. And I honestly, I don't know if she should. I don't know if I'm here for Thea going pro. I'm like, Thea, I think you still got some things to learn about the world, and that Bringston is the place for you. You're just starting to make friends.
Friends,
whoever those friends may be. People have different definitions. People have different people that they hold in that category.
Speaking of, I do love when they don't forget that her and Nate are actually friends, because I love them together, and I love their scenes, and I love that they went to the party together. I'm like, thank you, because she does have friends, quote unquote.
She has a friend
outside of Simone.
Simone and her are friends, if you count them as friends. If you count, I don't know. It's unclear. It's unclear.
I feel like Simone is the girlfriend who really wants to be with the person, and Thea is, the emotionally reserved boyfriend who
I agree.
How to say how he feels, and like that's what they give.
I agree, and I feel like that's how they were presented in the backdoor pilot. And so it'll be, especially as things start to come out with Damon, et cetera, it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But
I'm saying those relationships never end well.
No. So like we said, Thea is contemplating going pro because she beat a Grand Slam winner, Iris McDonald. And so, Rome is giving her this advice. She talks to Amara. This is the first time I think that we've gotten an Amara and Thea. I just love that we had different people linking up in this episode, and Amara and Thea is one of those conversations. I thought it was a really good conversation, even though I don't love like the stuff that was coming out of Thea's mouth. It felt so sincere and genuine. Like, I've been doing work in therapy, and I've realized that like I can balance tennis, and I've realized I still have feelings for Damon. Like all of those things felt so earnest and genuine and grounded and real. Even though I was like, baby girl, no.
I was on the baby girl no part, but I was also surprised that she chose to tell Amara how she felt about
it's
Damon.
Very interesting, right? Like it's just a different type of person, and it's just like Amara is naturally, I think, that person that they know, regardless of her status as Simone's aunt, regardless of her status as president, that they can talk to her. Because again, we have never seen Thea and Amara have a true conversation. Mm-hmm. So to get this and to see Thea being open to Amara was not as much of a shock to me as Thea being open with Rome.
I think I'm the reverse.
Really?
The Damon part made sense to me, but her talking to Amara about Damon shocks me. Whereas her getting close to Rome, I was like, I see the vision.
You saw it coming.
I see where they're going with this. Yeah, I see where they're going with this. It's gonna be bad, but I see where they're going.
It's gonna be bad.
Yeah,
it's all gonna be bad.
Rome just he just screams red flags to me.
I know. I'm not a fan. I was just like, girl, don't get up.
Yes. Here is. I don't know if we're gonna get to it or not, because I don't know how much they really have to do this episode. No, I think we will, but here I was thinking, I'm jumping around now. Here I was thinking Keisha and Kim was gonna be the it couple, and it's really gonna be JR and Gabby. You know what? I'm here for that.
Oh, period. Exactly. Yes, we're getting to that soon. To wrap it up, Thea ends up telling Damon that she wants him back, and he's just like, I've had time to process over these last 2 weeks. And let me say this. As soon as the writers in the All-American universe mentioned 2 weeks in getting over a relationship, a confession is coming. But because we had this conversation, because you were like, it's too soon for Jordan and Layla, because that was like the most recent one. It's too soon. It's only been 2 weeks. I'm like, but if we look back to Spencer and Olivia, 2 weeks, right? It was 2 weeks after Vegas that this happened, and they were
That was
deciding to
different
be
though, because
together.
him and Layla had already been broken up for a while, and then they like.
No, they were broken up for 2 weeks. Technically, they were broken up for 2 weeks.
Layla was going through her little thing. That was longer than 2 weeks.
But they got back together.
In Vegas, he was already kind of leaning towards Liz.
Listen, I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying the 2 weeks thing is a thing. 2 weeks, 2 weeks for Spencer and Olivia, 2 weeks for Jordan and Layla, 2 weeks for Damon and Simone.
I'm like, damn, y'all get over relationships quick in this universe. Wow.
They really do. AK said 2 weeks, not a day over, not a day under.
Like, damn, man, can't teach me your ways. Like, 2 weeks.
Look, she said 2 weeks, that's it. So anyway, and that's how she ended up with Rome. Really quickly before we get to Simone and Damon. Simone and PKZ and meeting with Charlotte. So Charlotte is like a PKZ. First, I think she's a Princeton alum, and she was a member of PKZ, so Simone has to impress her. But she was just like, look, I'm not here to do errands. What I want to do is talk to you about your future. Now, sometimes people are just like, because I say things again coming from a writer's perspective or an actor's perspective or whatever. So people are like, but they're young. So last week, it was either last week or the week before, whenever this was. But I was just like, we need to understand what Simone's goal is. Like, we don't know what her ultimate goal is, and we need to know because she is the protagonist. And so somebody was just like, yeah, but she's figured it out. She's only a freshman in high school. I was like, look, I understand. However, we see the world through her eyes, so we need to know what she's doing.
Right.
And I loved that Charlotte was challenging her on, like, where are you going? Like, PKZ is about leadership. She said, and it's so funny because when she asked Simone the question, she was just like, so what do you got going on? Where do you see yourself? And Simone was just like, oh yeah, like I've won I'm 4-1 in my matches. I got voted academic athlete of the week. And she was like, okay, and what else? What does this show us? What does this mean? What does this have to do with you as a person? And I was just like, me too, Charlotte.
I will never forget after she had the baby and her and Jordan went to the tennis court, and she was like, yeah, I played tennis. And then suddenly she was going to college for tennis. And I was like, huh?
Where did you get this from? Yes. But we accepted it because we believed that they were going to build upon this thing.
Right. And so I have been just I think the biggest thing is just like, I do feel like we don't always get enough of like Simone's, like you said, goals. Like, sometimes it feels like left field a little bit. But what I liked about this episode was that we get an explanation for that, right? Yes. Of like why we don't know, right? And like her being kind of, all over the place, Yeah. And I think that's real too, especially for a woman who like had a baby, and was married and this and that.
And didn't have choices, because that's something that we've known all the way back to when she first was on All American, was that her mom, her parents, very controlling. She lived a sheltered life. Like, that is a thread that has continued.
Exactly. And I love that she kind of brought that up, I've always kind of, have things set for me. I love that too. I think the sister came on a little bit strong. She annoyed me just a little bit, but I do
just think that I was just like, you can bring it down. You can bring it down. Especially when it came to her brother. When it came to Lando.
Know each other. Do you really want to visualize your brother fucking this girl? Like, chill the fuck out.
And it was really, can we also talk about that too? Because people automatically assume, like, sure, she picked up on their relationship or whatever, but she was making assumptions, right? She was just like, I'm assuming that they're sleeping together. I'm assuming that they're sleeping together while Simone is rushing for PKZ. Like, this could have been like ages ago. Like, what are we doing?
Known each other, like, girl, calm all the way down.
All the way down.
You don't know nothing. Like, what was the reason? She was a lot. And then pulling rank to get Simone to pick something for Lando was a lot too. I was like, girl.
It was a lot.
She's trying to
also, can we talk about Lando's response to that? Because it was really weird. And this is the first time, not the first time, but this is the time he came at Simone. And I was just like, Lando, what are we really doing here? Because he was just like, did you like help my sister like submit photos? And it's just like, what did Simone do in this instance? Oh, this photo, not that photo. Like, be for real. Like, I understand that he was upset, but it's like, be for real. What is Simone gonna do in this situation? She wasn't like, I'm gonna go around your back and like gather all these photos for her. She literally was just like, oh, that one, not that one, not that one.
I completely understood like where he was coming from and his frustration. But I was also just like, Lando, you're acting so much like a boyfriend right now. Even when he was just like, is this how it's gonna be when you're in PKZ? And like,
I'm finna do me. I'm finna worry about myself.
Right. And like, I love them together. I'm equally for Lamone as I am Simone, which we will get to. Like, I love both of these couples, and I actually think that's, for me, it would be tough.
And I love that. I think this is the first time it actually is tough.
Yeah. And so, especially one of the things I love that this episode did too, it showed up, even though I honestly think he was overreacting, but she was also kind of, it's like you're finally starting to like him, and the first thing you say to him is, I'm not worried about you, I'm gonna do me. It's like, well, damn.
For real, that's something about Simone that is that is a theme, and it's consistent with her character, where she will, like, it's just when something is like an inconvenience to her in the moment, that's when she will start to be like, all right, well, like, I'm gonna get flippant now because you want flippant, I'm gonna get flippant with you.
Yeah, she is that character. I agree with you. And I think a lot of people are saying that too, because when this show first started, she was so like reserved. And we were like, Simone pops off at people. What is this? Simone pops off at her man's mother. She said, I am his wife. I am going into the hospital room, ma'am. Thank you. So we know that she's capable. What'd you say?
Oh, no, I was going to say, I was just like, you're completely correct. Like, popped off at Live in Vegas, all that.
Yes, exactly. She's a pop-off type of girl. And, like, I feel like that's what she did in that scene. I also, like I said, I'm like, Lando, I get that you care and you want to be in this relationship, but you're also not in this relationship. So asking her how she going to treat you when she gets into this sorority, who knows if you're even going to be around.
And then me or my sister, it was just like, I didn't know that was a choice.
Like, you also know that y'all just talked about this pledging thing and how difficult it is. So, but then for her to basically be like, you may not even be around, like, well, that's basically what she was saying.
That was OD.
Like, damn, you don't like saying to him like that. So I thought they were both like, and I love, of course, that they came back to it and like reconciled,
apologize,
in a way that felt like really good. Oh, and when he leaned down and he said, "Save me a dance," and he had that little smile, I was like, God!
Oh yeah, and I don't know if that was an acting choice or the direction choice, but to have him like sinking down into his backpack, I thought was really there were some beautiful shots. There were some beautiful shots in this episode for sure.
And I was like, baby boy is down bad.
He is. He's always been down bad though. That's been consistent with his character.
Yes. And so one of the things I love that this episode did is it shows us all the reasons why, and they've been doing that a lot in the past few episodes, and you can see Simone starting to slowly like him, right? But they're showing us all the reasons why their relationship could work, right?
Yes.
And even like her getting along with his sister by the end of it, right? It's like she knows his sister, she gets along with his sister.
And the fact that you got him, like, I don't know what you said to Lando, but whatever you said, it got him here.
Exactly. And he encourages her, she encourages him, he encourages her. They like, and you can really kind of tell, like, her smiles and her excitement to be around him are genuine. And what episode 2 ago, he was the one that she called when she was struggling with stuff. Like, you're really starting to see all the reasons why their relationship could work. And I had to sit through Damon and Thea. So I just felt like it's unfair
You said that, so this is this is reparations.
Right, to at least not give me some Simone and Lando. It's hard though because it is like in real life, you know, you'd probably choose Damon, right? Because like this is the person you love and they're finally single. But for the show, for some drama, I'm kind of like, but we gonna get to the confession and everything. But I kind of want my little Lamone heart kind of wants some time with them. Like we need more time. I also want to keep Lando on the show for as long as possible. I just want more time.
Yes.
Because I'm like,
yeah, no. I do like the drama, and I do like that it's like I feel like and not easy in the way that they don't have tension, because we just explored their tension and they've had some tension in the past, like some angst. But Lando is very easy for her, and so again, I love that dichotomy of something that's very sort of simple and easy to fall into versus the complicated thing that your heart knows that it wants, and all that good stuff. Lastly, on Simone, Lando, his sister, first of all, his sister was a Fortune 500 senior manager, and I was just like,
how old are you?
I was like, that's rare. Y'all just go throw out that title.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave that there and say that's rare. That's rare. But I love that his sister like helped Simone, because this takes a lot of time and effort, but like had like 5 internships that she thought would be great for Simone, and talked to her about it and said, you know, just pick out one of these. I can give him a call and we can get you an internship. I thought that was a really, really wonderful thing. And then Simone saying that she loves tennis and she believes it's her future, but she wants to see what else is out there for her. I was just like, this is all I've been asking for. Now we're clear. Now we got it. Now we understand where Simone wants to go. We understand that she's going to do research on some internships now and see what's best out there for her future. She's making the choices for her life, which I loved. One of the choices for her life in the very near future is what's happening with Damon.
You and these transitions.
I know. That was not planned, by the way. I just was like, wait, that works. That works.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I'm excited to see where she goes, because we kind of already know everyone else's majors. You know, we've been learning a lot of that this season. Also, too, I think, does All American Homecoming have a monopoly on like casting the most beautiful Black people they've ever seen?
Period.
Every single time there's a guest star, I'm like, wow.
Yes.
Where are you finding these
Very
people?
pretty people. Very pretty people.
I'm like, are they? Because I don't think they're really shooting in Atlanta. So, but yeah,
no, they shoot in Burbank.
Yeah, so I'm just always like, oof, all the fine people.
Yes.
But and Gabby got that strong ass Southern accent too, so I'd be like, damn, y'all.
Yes, and she's so pretty and so gorgeous. Speaking about Gabby, I love that they got her involved in this storyline. Like, she drove something in this episode, which I loved, and drove something with Damon. Got to interact with Damon a lot. Obviously, Damon got tickets for Thea, got Thea a necklace, which he ended up giving to her. It was just like, yeah, I got it for you. Go ahead, take it. This is back when they were dating, but he doesn't want to go to the ball, obviously still thinking about his feelings for Simone. And think about the fact that JR was just like, your feelings aren't real. And even if they are real, Simone might not feel the same way. In fact, she probably won't feel the same way.
Just spitting nothing but fiction.
He's just not about it. Exactly. And so he's just not about it, not about the dance. But go ahead.
No, I don't know if we're gonna address it, but I just love when Gabby was just like, You made me say him with all those people. And then she came up and then she was like, and you ain't even tell me to tell you.
That's the thing. And so that's the thing, is that JR was disappointed, so he gets Gabby to emotionally blackmail Damon. I don't think it counted as emotional blackmail, but emotionally blackmail Damon into trying to go on these like speed dates to see if he could take a date. Not a love connection, right? A date. Mm-hmm. None of it worked. Cam, which we knew Cam is not a blocker.
Not at all. He get everybody together.
Getting everybody together, and it's just like, why do we not get more Damon and Cam scenes? That's been something I've been begging for. But
We got
Cam,
two, I think, back to back though. This
yeah,
episode,
yeah,
yeah. They actually live together now. Look at that.
yes, exactly. They're actually roommates, exactly. But after Damon said that JR's advice was trash, Cam comes and talks to him, and it's just like, look, you like Simone, don't even wait until after this ball, bro. Like, go get her right now. Go get her right now. So he attempts to do that. But then I want to know your thoughts on this whole Desiree Samuel thing. As cute as the initials were in the little role playing, Desiree and Samuel,
Oh.
Damon and Simone.
When he like went up to when
I
that
was just like, I'm very confused as to why this is a thing.
Yeah, I was just like, why did he? I mean, he like says later that he freaked out, right? But I was just like, did he just punk out?
And, and then like Simone like went along with it. And the thing is he was just like, I'm talking about my future. So he was in a way trying to confess. Like he actually did his like a pre-run of his confession when he first went up to her. But it was just like, what's with the names? What's with the names?
Right, because I felt like this is not. Damon wouldn't do this. He would pull her to the side because everything with Simone is so urgent, right? Like he knocking on the door, he always in her face. I was like, this must be a runtime situation. Like we gotta back it out a little bit because what? That's how I felt. But I do like that they kind of addressed it, right? Yeah, they tried their best to address it. Of like, I tried to say something.
He was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming as Damon this time." But it was just no. I was just like, I feel like they could have had a conversation that wasn't about role playing because nobody else in the masquerade was role playing. I'm confused.
Yeah, they could have talked about. He could have when you
just been like, "How's your dress?" Right, and chickened out that way, like, "Oh,
right," and they start stuttering or something. Yeah, and then somebody like comes up to him or her and interrupts, and so he doesn't get to say it. That would have made more sense for his character, definitely.
Agreed.
I think they were just trying to lean into the masquerade of it all. Yes. You know, but
lean into the masquerade and lean into Damon just freaking out because Simone is that important to him. Right. But as you said, he chickens out. Gabby ends up talking to JR, like you said, about like, yo, first of all, your advice was trash. Again, tough love in an empathetic way, talking about like you don't want Damon's face to freeze, basically keep being upset with you. And that, like, you know, she wouldn't have gotten involved if she had known that Damon had these feelings. She wouldn't have gotten involved, you know, knowing that Damon and Simone have been feeling each other since from the jump.
Why you
which is exactly which is exactly what JR said. And I love that they had JR come back around and apologize and say this because I think it's absolutely correct. You and Simone have never been just friends, and that is the truth. Those are facts.
And they said it to each other before. Simone, when did she say that to him? Like, you and there's always been some kind of something with you and I. Like, I can't remember what situation she said that in, but I was like,
there's always been something there. There's always been something.
I'm just like, you are a whole married woman staring this man down in the hallway of a fashion show. Like, girl. Facts. Can we, real quick side note, whoever did Damon's makeup in that backdoor pilot, throw them away. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Look, they were working on a pilot budget. They had to pay for partition. They had to pay for the partition feature.
Right. Because I remember
it was halls of UCLA. I don't even know if it was UCLA. It was some California campus trying to make it look like it was Atlanta. And they got Corday on the show, not just a track. They got him on the show. No, they had stuff to pay for.
You know what? You're right. I just remember. Oh my God, I just remember his makeup from that episode being so bad. I was like, what is this foundation? He looks a mess. And
now they all look so good. They all look so
good. Oh my God, give the hairdresser an Emmy. Like, the hair is
it always makes me laugh with Thea's wig in the backdoor pilot.
How cooking basura.
Look, the budget is budgeting. The actual network budget is budgeting.
They look good now, though. They look good.
The hairstyles have been on point. Like I said, even Amara, again, I don't know. I just got to keep going back to that first Amara look with the braid. It was like the curls and the braid. It was really cute.
Amara always looks spectacular. She is her niece's aunt. Like, they both just always look spectacular.
Yeah.
It's just like, she's so spectacular. Why are we putting her with this boring? I can't.
Questions that need answers.
Right. I'm like, the only person I've ever seen like Marcus come alive with besides like his students is Keena. I'm just like, can we bring this actress back? Her husband dead now. Sorry. Sorry to that man. Please.
Can we do this? Can we do a Keena? Exactly. Can we do a Keena?
I don't need this.
Bring Keena back. Get her back for the finale, please.
Bring Keena back.
Bring Keena back. No, she really is one of my favorite characters. Like, she ate that role up. But anyway, on in who she loves Simone. She loves Simone down. Keena does.
Speaking of transitions, right?
Her son finally gets up the courage again and says, like we said, right? There's no Samuel, there's no Desiree. And he just does what Damon does. Like, this is completely who Damon is with Simone, just straight up and honest. I haven't been completely honest about my feelings for you. Truth is, I love you. I've always loved you. I loved you since I stole your phone at homecoming 2 years ago. I want more Simone. And if you don't, I'll respect that. The choice is what?
Yeah.
The choice is yours. I don't know. That's a perfect love confession to me.
I was just like, "Ooh, that was me." Why can't somebody say that to me? No, that was me. I'd be like, I wouldn't have let him leave. I'm sorry, but she does.
I'm so surprised. He was literally like, "The choice is yours. I'm gonna let you sit on this for a second." But I'm so surprised she let him.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we got to do it for the dramatic exit. Although there's
the cliffhanger.
Right, but there's another version of the TV show that could be dramatic too, where she runs after him, grabs the arm, and then it ends with she looks at him and says, "I love you too," and then it ends. We could also do that. But
the third version, the Jim and Pam version, where he confesses, they kiss at the end, and then they pull apart, and then you get the sadness the next episode.
Shout out to Jim and Pam, iconic office couple. We love to see it. Love. Oh, that reminds me of the series finale of The Office. It was so good. But yeah, we can go on so many tangents. We could be here forever. But yeah, so right. But I agree that it was a perfect love confession, and it, my Lamone heart was being sparked throughout the episode, and this sparks my Simone heart, and I am an advocate for poly relationships.
I'll say this. My Damone heart has never stopped beating, and when I saw that Damone kiss, I was like, this is where my heart has always been. Thanks for listening to Film Study and All American Universe Podcast. Had to cut it off right there. We could talk forever. But this is getting quite long, so I had to chop it off a bit. I hope that you enjoyed that, and stay tuned for the next episode.